communists? How could you say that? My country suffered under communism. Oh, really? Huh. Well, I guess that would make your country statistically an outlier. Most people in formerly communist places say that life was better under communism and they miss it. Especially in older ages where people actually lived through it. That can't be real. You're telling me most people miss communism? Yeah, I mean...
Jolly good show. I don't know why I said that. Oh, hello Equinox. This broke ass bum. First one in my stream. You stalkers are obsessed with me. You're obsessed with me. Like, just obsessed with a brown man. No, I'm sorry, I'm just kidding. No, I was just joking. I'm sorry, I don't mean that. Actually, no, you called me Unc now, Equinox. Pyrogue of the Caribbean. Well, why is it not starting? What is a demo digest? Oh, it's like you can rewatch the cutscenes. I see. Is that how many times I've died? 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Oh, no, wait, that's how many times I used a gold star in each mission, I think. It's about, it's almost 5 a.m. What time is it where you're at? Congo boy. I remember I had like I had this like short-lived friendship with some random girl from the Congo on Discord. I don't remember how we met. Yeah, it's pretty good. It's pretty good. Sorry, my bad. Caribbean boy. Are you a pirate of the Caribbean? Imagine being in the past. You're in the past, you're still old as fuck. You're still young. Equi knock it off. Equi knock it off.
Well, this is my kind of rain. No wonder the sky looks so funny today.
Let me go!
Let you go? But it would be a waste if you ended up as just a pretty stain.
Now shut up.
Here I am trying to help you, and you show your thanks by shooting me?
Yo, she's 15 by the way.
Whatever. Do as you please.
So she's a demon too.
I'm not Dale timing, genuinely.
I'm beginning to think I've got rotten luck with women.
Me too, Dante, me too. I don't even know if she's 18. Wait, no, what? She's like 15 to, I don't know, there's no confirmed age. Either way, Dale, you're on that Dale time in Equirog. Equirog. Yo, if you become a superhero, that should be like your superhero name, bro. Equirog. I think that'd be pretty tough, I'll be honest. Yo, what do you do to a car? What do you do to a car? You in a car, you would drive. These whispers are creeping now. It is. It's you. It's a good thing SHX is in here, otherwise I'd bully him. I'd bully him so hard. Bullying Rog. Like, why does my stream have no, why does it have no honkies? Where are all my crackers at? Rog streams and muchachos. Whirlwind. Should I buy Whirlwind? Or should I? Good thing you have me. Group parasocial. Have, now had. Get that ass banned. Yo, apparently there was some like allegations that you talking about went to like oil bail up or something. I can't remember who told me. But like, is that true? Is that? Oh shit! This is the mission where we meet Virgil. Yeah, I can't remember who told me that. It must have been SHX, I think. You should take that up with him if it's not true, because he's obviously slandering you. Deserves slander nonetheless, but still. How that? Bro, what? How do I steam it after that moment? And you wanna oil bail up? See, I don't think I don't know if that's true. Wait, how do I steam it after that? This is bullshit, man. Okay, so wait, this is actually really good. Nah, I'm not projecting you. Yeah, mine are actually what's wrong with you, dude? What's wrong with you? What's wrong with you, dude? Equinox, you don't know what it's like for you're living in a hardback island. Oh, I see you doing another month long. Zesty moment. When I'm in a Zesty competition, like, one of those Equinox I know I'm cooking. Bro, how do I fucking do this? Kill yourself. I'm tired. I find you here. What a childish feeling that come up. Fucking updates. So this is actually a good area to just bomb. mods, obliterate his skull. No, I'm not in an upbreak. Bitch ass. Walk ass. Wait, I can just use enemy stuff. Jesus. Wait, that's how you jump cancel? God, I was gonna... I swear, dude. Oh. You can't lie, that was kind of tough. I'm gonna use this actually. I'm gonna practice jump canceling with this. Rock Wi-Fi, bro. Rock Wi-Fi and that. I love Rob. One of my Rob brethren and my Rob sisters. I consider myself somewhat black in a way because yeah. I'm just a new age brown, you know, right? You're like the only person that doesn't know this, by the way. You thought I'm a cum skin hunky? Fuck no. Okay, that sounds really bad. I don't actually know if I'm person. Okay, let's swing this corner. Yeah, die. What are these jump stabs? Bro, not only Indian but brown. Oh shit. Indians are the only brown prototype. Phenotype. Prototype? I'm not retarded. Yes. Oh my god, I gotta stop using that. Phenotype, bro. I need phenotype. I'm tired, right? It's late. Yeah. Chill on me, chill on me. No, in fact, you saying that, brother, is like you seeing the person from Ghana. I think some of your streaming there like a Nigerian man. Oh shit, I'm actually very good at them content. Enemy stuff is really useful. I don't. What? No, I'm not Nigerian, dude. Fuck you, piece of shit. I'm not your friend. I would never say that about my friend. Hey, buddy. Oh my god. I'm gonna die. What are you doing? Are you fucked up in the hospital? Stop! Dada, stay at misery. Dada, stay at misery. Equinox lost his H1 girlfriend. Oh my god, fucking soundtrack to this game is so fucking sick. Come taste the cow, come taste the cum, come taste the beefcake, come taste the rum. It's like a late coffee. I think Oliver Tree made that song. How we all feel walking Oliver Tree and Michael Jackson. I can feel a feel of Oliver Tree and Michael Jackson. I heard you do. Dude. Fuck you, you piece of shit. You have no value to this world. You demon. You should all do it right now. Actually, kill yourself now. Give somebody else a piece of that oxygen. Tell me I don't get out showing the fire. Do you actually like listen to Too Slimy? Like, I actually think Too Slimy has, like, if he didn't use fucking AI and all his shit, he'd maybe be somewhat decent. Nah, I'm lying. His music sucks ass. I don't listen to that shit. I don't mind Lucifer though. And oh, Axterl, thanks for putting me on. What's it called again? Sigil Core, right? That shit's actually pretty good. I was wondering what that genre is because I've been hearing that type of music a lot, and I thought I quite like it. So you put me on, bro. You put me on. I appreciate you for that. I appreciate you, fam. Do you know this one song? It's like Head Full of Drama or something. It's like, I'm not gonna sing it obviously because that'd be really embarrassing, but you know, embarrassing. On phone. Yo, who's Phonum? Like, why does everybody swear on Phonum? It's like Head Full of Drama. Like, whoever Phonum is, I feel bad for him, because, like, a lot of people tend to say on Phonum's grave. And they're probably lying. So he's probably in hell. But not to make a concept, so I guess it's fine. Actually, I'm not gonna say that, I sound like a Redditor. Actually, it's a made up concept. Did you just wish me a Merry Christmas? Did you just say blessing after I sneezed? Yeah, so I'm actually an atheist. Oh my god. Yeah, I was thinking of making like an edit, and it's like it's this one song, and it's like King Von and like Elia Roger. I thought that might go like really hard, but I can't be asked making it honestly. And I also probably get nuked. Not on TikTok, it'd probably stay up on TikTok, but if I made that shit on like on YouTube, it might get nuked. Actually, there's another edit I made. It was like a damn TDM, like Jihad edit. I was gonna post it on YouTube and TikTok, but I never ended up posting it because I'm brown, so probably ended up getting fucking MI6 on my doorstep. Actually, I might still get them on my own now that I've admitted that. Whatever. I would never ever do anything like that. Terrorism is so bad. And I love the government. I will never have any anti-government ideals or ideologies. Like, no, I don't think that government officials should be dragged out by their, like, fucking hair of their heads and executed on the street publicly. That's horrible. I need this blue orb. Can you fuck off, you fucker? Yo, I remember this dude, this rapper, like, YNW Melly or something. And I remember, like, when he was in jail, people were actually spamming, like, free Melly. It's like, bro, no, don't free Melly. Please don't free Melly. Cause I'm pretty sure you like killed somebody, didn't you? You like killed his homeboy or some shit. And then blamed on his personality. That's actually a fuck excuse. Maybe we should kill him. Maybe that's a decent excuse. I'm not gonna be a jail, but saying free literal killers doesn't really make said people look good. Like, I'm pretty sure Lion Devil Melly didn't even kill out of like a, I suppose necessity, you could say. You know, like survival. I'm pretty sure that dude, like the dude he killed was some random guy. Oh well, at least I haven't seen any free Davids. Actually, I have, but not from. What the fuck is that? I'm saying it's like I'm taking it. Honestly, now that I'm like getting the mechanics of this game, it's become really fun. Okay, fuck this game, shit. It sucks dick. It's a terrible game. Don't like it. Don't ever want to play it ever again. Bitch ass game. Oh shit. Oh, by the way, Basil said he's probably gonna. I think he's getting his laptop like next week or something. And timing couldn't be worse because I think I'm actually in the kind of like close to getting a job now, honestly, which fucking sucks, but whatever. It's gonna be. It sucks, but I doubt I'd be in the streams much once I do start. Well, it's gonna be like an apprenticeship, but, you know. I'm not really excited to work at the moment. Equinox, are you still there? Or... For some reason, this fucking chat messages are coming in. Oh. That's a polo week. fucking way, bro. Don't call me late, bro. Don't call me late, boy. I'm not. I'm just gonna play like that. To be honest, one thing I do quite like appreciate about this game is like how like it kind of forced to adapt and like I reward you for adapting, you know. Like you know, the better you get at combos, moves, learning attacks, you know, the more of a pleasant experience you'll have. And like that, I feel like in a way, you know, all games should have that kind of thing, you know, to keep it fun, to keep it fresh. That's what I really appreciate about that. You know, just the number of I really stuff like it's really cool, you know, just little things to do with stylish things also
Breakdown. Breakdown. Blast off.
Come on, dude.
Breakdown.
I'm trying to get to the team. That's painful.
Blast off. Blast off. Blast off. Breakdown. Blast off.
No, don't do that again.
Breakdown. Blast off. Breakdown. Breakdown.
There we are. Holy shit, that took a while. To me, it is like, to me that is kind of, you know, bro, don't be talking about misery, my child Equinox. Don't be talking about misery. Dada, play that misery, Dada, play that misery. Me and the age play, guys. Me and the Dadas. Yo, Equinox, that's actually facts, though. Well, you know, like, a lot of, I'd say, gun and ball games, you know, it's a cliche, I suppose, but, like, you know, it is just very casual games. I mean, I'm not even saying, like, it's necessarily a bad thing, right? I guess video games aren't for everybody, but still, like, these people tend to be quite insufferable. Dada, play that misery. Yeah, also, I'm gonna restart stream because the chat is bugging out a bit. Dada, put on misery. Boy, put on that misery, Dada. To be honest, like, you know, I don't like that Misery song, and I don't like e-horrors either. Well, I don't like horrors in general, but e-horrors also piss me off. But, sometimes, like, the hate is retarded because it just becomes popular people's humor, so it's just, like, normtards hating on, like, old people, or, like, they just direct their anger towards the wrong thing. But yeah, I'm gonna restart stream, and, one second, my friend texted me. Where is he? You don't. What do you mean by that? I wouldn't agree with that, honestly. I don't think all girls are the same shit. I mean, the term alter itself is just a. Oh, what the fuck, man? The term alt itself is like an umbrella term. There's different subgenres under alternative. I mean, alternative typically just means, you know, subjugating from the norm, which is why also certain alternative groups are also about sort of you know, politics, and you'll see like a lot of, for example, now there's a thing of, well, alternative is only left. I do disagree with that because alternative means deviating from the norm, and there are a lot of far right wing ideologies that do deviate from the norm. Fascism deviates from, yeah, well, not in the traditional sense, but yes, to some degree. And also, you know, if you're using the Churchill term of a far right winger, but I'd say it's, well, I'd say, I don't know, it's kind of, because not in the traditional sense of what you'd actually, you know, it depends on, are we looking at literal definitions or non-literal definitions? But like, you'll see, for example, a lot of like, you know, all people might be commies. Granted, a lot of quote-unquote commies aren't commies, they're just lib cooks pretending to be commies. They don't know anything about communism. They just see my leftist ideology and roll with it. I wouldn't say communism is a bad ideology. One of my best friends is a communist, so I'm very open-minded when it comes to communism, even though it's not my personal choice in terms of politics. Well, depends. Like, it just depends on your feed, I suppose. I don't know. When I see quote-unquote all girls on my feed, they tend to be different. I don't really see many women. I don't see many women on my feed. I don't like seeing women on my feed. Because like, half the time they got some fucking retarded shit to say. Actually, that sounds really bad. On my TikTok feed, I mean, on my feed, when I see women on my feed, they're saying retarded shit. I'm not saying women say retarded shit. I tend to see a lot of political content from alternative people in my For You page. Or they're like cosplaying, or like some shit like that. It just depends. But once again, it also just depends on what you define as communist, not communist, as alternative. Actually, I do know what you mean. Somewhat like that. But I feel like a lot of these people are also like not really alternative. They just dress alternatively, but they're not really politically. They tend to be quite apolitical, and they tend to be pretty fucking dense. And I'm not saying I'm superior to non-apolitical people, but I think being apolitical is fucking retarded, especially if you're gonna be quote unquote alternative. And like I do believe you can be right-winged, for the most part, and be alternative. Well, you have to be kind of far right-winged, I'd say, because being traditionally right-winged isn't really all that alternative. Not that that's a necessarily good thing, but it's still kind of true. But far right girls tend to be more trad. It's fucking cringe. I think there's also just an influx of, this idea of alternative fashion now becoming like more popular, right? So like, it's like what you actually consider alternative now, right? Because it's not alternative now; it's actually popular. So, I mean, not actual alternative fashion. Like you don't really see like actual people in gothic, makeup or clothing really, because well, I don't know, because it's still somewhat frowned upon. But like, you see these they're not goths, but like it's very much as well sexual. It's so sexualized now, which I think is actually kind of gross. Because imagine being passionate about something, being into something, and it's also very, something that was also somewhat very, I wouldn't say niche. I won't say it was niche, but more underground. All of a sudden, people start to like it and they just sexualize it. But yeah, it just depends, really. Cyber sigil, is that like the? Yeah, bro. That shit is so overused now. As cool as it is. Yeah, that shit pisses me off. No, I wouldn't say those are not alternative girls, or they're not goth girls either. They're just whores, really, and they usually are OnlyFans whores as well, who dress in such a way because it's a fetishist, because it's a fetish. A lot of dudes have kind of fetish for dressing that way. Not because like black makeup itself, black like lipstick and hair isn't really alternative. It's not that edgy, really. It's not groundbreaking, and it's very much just sexualized. I mean, that is the issue now. Everything is so sexualized. You look around and they're trying to implement sex and fetishes and pornography and everything because that's what they want to do. They want to corrupt the young minds to be more akin to their quote unquote, sexual deviancies and desires. They want people hooked on pornography. Yeah, but the thing is, a lot of these guys as well, like, they're shameless about it. What you do in the bedroom, that's up to you. Yeah, if you want to call your partner like something like mommy, or if a girl wants to call her partner something like daddy, sure, like go ahead, right? Who am I to judge? But the issue is I just put so much and I think so much humor and so many memes now are so much more sexualized compared to then. Like for example, yeah, like oh dude, those fucking retards who are like, oh I wanna, no, I'm not gonna say this. I'm gonna type this. Yeah, like yeah, one goth mommy please. Like those retweets who are like, oh one goth mommy. I wanna drink. I love drinking White Monster and reading Berserk. I actually love Berserk though. Berserk is a really great manga. So go read Berserk. Sadly, it's kind of been slow recently. Sorry, I'm just distracted by something. My friend. Oh, yo, by the way, I'm really sorry, SHX. What's up, man? I didn't mean to ignore you completely. Yo, how are you? Actually, how is everyone? How is everyone? You know, I don't like watermelon flavored stuff. I really don't. To be honest, I used to drink White Monster like a bit because it was zero sugar. And like you can't really find that the zero sugar what's it called? Like the I like prefer like the I do like the original Monster. You know what's weird? I think oh shit for real, man. Oh yeah, happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday, man. I hope you had a good day. Yeah, I was gonna say though, I think original Monster would actually taste quite nice warm, like warmed up. I feel like it would kind of taste like tea or something. I don't know. It had like that gingery taste. Yeah, happy birthday, bro. But don't call me Unk. Your birthday's not even that far away from mine. It's like your birthday's 15 days away from mine. I've never tried that, man. Some people say that like Red Bull is better than Monster just because of the fact that Monster drink is can be annoying. I don't agree with that. I think Monster is still better and has better flavors. Yeah, me neither. Energy drinks, and even coffee don't really do shit. You know, if you're tired, you're tired. I don't know. Red Bull especially, even Monster, always remind me like I don't know if it's because they look like piss or because I've just seen so many like fucking people who are like drunk and even high, and they'll get a Red Bull and they'll stink like piss. But I mean, it's fine. But still, like, they're kind of reminiscent of it. But to be honest, I don't really drink energy drinks. Like, it's all very slop. Like, yeah. Sodium. For me, like, I mean, I'm not like, like I am against over-processed foods, obviously, but I'm gonna be honest. I do still indulge in them. But I try not to as much, right? Because, like, to me as well, like, I can genuinely feel it fuck up my stomach. Like, it kind of makes me ill, so I try to not eat them. Because obviously, your body can't really process it. Your body wasn't designed to process such things, so yeah, it's gonna fuck with you. We love the Jews world. Guys, you can't say that. That's anti-Semitic. Oh, I don't have to. Faz, bro, Faz. Ooh, white oats. Should I be honest, you know what I really dislike? It's, I guess, I mean, you know, this sounds like some kind of school kid, but I guess it's things that were originally quite underground or niche or whatever you want to call them, right? Becoming popular or becoming mainstream and everybody using it, right? It's like, and especially because, you know, they tend to be things that you'd have got made fun of or bullied for, but now all of a sudden everybody wants to like fuck with it. Like, that happened with anime, you know, nobody used to fuck with anime. All of a sudden becomes mainstream, now everybody fucks with anime. You know, and it's like normal to watch anime. In fact, if you don't watch anime, it's like, oh, really, dude? You don't watch anime? That's pretty fucking weird, actually. But a few years back, if you told people you watched anime, you liked anime, you get called a weirdo. Hell, you get called a fucking loser, like even a pervert, a pedophile or something, right? And granted, yeah, okay, some of the anime community does that to themselves, because whatever. You know, and they're like the retards in the community who will call you a tourist if you think Wall-E is weird and stuff. But, you know, aside from that, right, it's like, you know, it happened with the terms like chud, right? You know, people think chud means fat lazy dudes who just... What? Wait, what are you talking about, dude? Shows and movies have always been popular. Like, if you watch it, obviously certain TV shows are more niche and, like, not as mainstream, but... I do watch it, like, I watch anime, obviously. I mean, to be honest, I read more manga, but actually, I'd say I just prefer reading manga a lot of the time because, it's easier, I guess. You can go at your own pace, so that's kind of nicer. But I'm not some research thinks, you know, manga only is better. Like, a lot of my favorites I have just watched as animes. I haven't even read the mangas, so it just depends, really. I mean, it's alright. Like, it's fine, right? Do whatever you want. But the thing is, fucking, like, quote-unquote, like, popular memes are just not funny anymore. Humor's just not funny anymore. Like, mainstream humor is just not funny. Like, the moment I hear or see somebody, you know, like, in school, or, well, I don't go to school, you know, but when I was going to school, college, you know, making a meme about something, parodying something, like, I just know it's not funny anymore. But it's even worse when it's genuinely something I like, right? Or not even just, like, I think gay people, I don't think gay people is really that bad. I understand that people hate you. I'll be honest, you know, like, Like, I'm not gonna be like, oh, you know, it's so hard to make fun of dead people, or like, I actually play crap. But like, you know, it just became stale and funny. Yeah, fucking hate JJK fans. JJK fans are the definition of new gen anime. That's just like, they're the type who used to hate on anime and call you a loser and a weirdo for liking it, but then all of a sudden they I was actually gonna pick up JJK. Well, no, I did pick it up. I watched like a few episodes. It's mediocre. It's mid. I'll be honest. The hype is, it's overglazed. It's not that good. There's no complexity to it. The female fans are insufferable. They're fucking worst. Like, you know, if I had the choice between dating a fucking female JJK fan and putting a fucking SPS 12 to my fucking head, I would choose the second option. I would genuinely want to blow off my head, you know, like fucking Ronnie McNutt, and then genuinely date a female JJK fan. In fact, no, I take that gun and blow that fucking female JJK fan's head off, because like, genuinely it's just insufferable. Like, you're not funny. We don't give a fuck that you simp for fucking Gojo. You like Gojo, why? Because, no, not because he's a complex character, no, you like him because he's attractive. Whatever that means for a drone character, anyway. And you're a stupid whore and you deserve to be bitch slapped. You know, I'll be honest. Women ruin a lot of things. Female fans ruin a lot of things. I mean, I agree. I mean, genuinely coming from an actual perspective of humanity, violence is in our nature, so in reality I'm not saying it should be normalized, but it is quote unquote normal, right? Of course, what's normal and what's not normal is just defined by the society you live in, because, you know, like for example, in our society, if we were to see somebody kill their fucking wife for cheating on them, it wouldn't really be normal. In an Arab society, you know, it would be. Now, whether that's, well, I was gonna say whether that's good or not is up to you, but I mean, I think it's fine, you know. But obviously, what's normal is up to what they tell you is normal and what isn't normal. You know, which is why obviously people who deviate from the norm do tend to get bullied more, especially as well, you know. Also, autistic people, obviously, they do tend to get made fun of and bullied more because they're not quote unquote normal. But being normal is retarded anyway. I mean, I go outside and I see people who are, you know, well adjusted, right? And to some degree, you feel jealous of them because, yeah, you want that for your own life. You want to be well adjusted, but at the same time, you know, you're glad you're not. You're glad you're not boring or fucking bland. Like, fuck them. You know, cause yeah, they are the type who will make fun of you about something until it all of a sudden gets popular. I was gonna search something up, I don't remember. Hold on, let me just check something. Give me a sec. You know, and the thing is as well, people just follow what they're told to follow, right? When something is funny, it's funny, and all of a sudden now everybody else don't think it's funny, so they can't think it's funny. You know, if something is controversial, it's controversial. Or if everyone else doesn't like something, then God forbid that they do. if you keep like constricting yourself to these, trying to be and please everybody else, you're never going to actually truly be happy. Yeah, I mean they are goy cattle. They are actually goy cattle. They're Gentile. I know this isn't me saying like if you have fucking psychopathic tendencies, go act them out. Not psychopathic tendencies. That would be labeling all psychopaths as serial killers. If you have serial killer, if you have like this urge to kill somebody, to hurt people, just go act it out, right? Fuck it. You'll be more happier. I mean, you won't be more happier because in the end you'll probably get caught and sent to prison. Then you won't be happy. But to some degree, right? For a lot of things, you shouldn't just follow what everyone else tells you to follow. You shouldn't be so caught up in trying to be normal, because if you are, then you're not yourself, and what's the point of living if you're not yourself? You might as well kill yourself. Well, I mean, I think debating is a good way to, to get points across, to get your ideas across. I think a big issue as well is that now a lot of debates are so hostile and full of pathetic fallacies, and everybody's trying to act like an intellectual when they're not, and that's fine, because if everybody was an intellectual, then nobody would be an intellectual. Nobody expects you to be an intellectual. Like, not being high IQ, not being extremely smart. Obviously, everybody wants to be extremely smart. Whether... But it's not even about morons who won't budge. There's nothing wrong with not wanting to budge. You can have a firm standpoint in something. There's a lot of views that, if somebody told me I wouldn't really budge on them, yeah, I might, respect. But it's this thing of people are so just inclined to use ad hominems just to insult the person as opposed to, like one thing that really pisses me off now, especially on TikTok, is the use of reaction images and stickers. People will just send reaction images and stickers when they see something they disagree with, or the fact that people are so uneducated. And I mean, there is actual genuine evidence that society is actually becoming more and more illiterate and like fucking stupid. And that's not, I wouldn't even say that's due to, I'd say that's very much somewhat, well, not very much, but I'd say that's somewhat due to brainwashing. It's on purpose, because if anybody's going to make a change, it would be the children, it would be the younger generation. They're going to be the ones that are more inclined to make a change, right? Your parents, they had their chance, they had their time, they didn't do anything, so now it's your turn. Yeah, exactly, you should. But it's not even just that, people can't even grasp things like hypotheticals anymore. For example, right, now, I saw a hypothetical. This was about abortion. Now, I'm not going to argue whether I think abortion is correct or not, because, it's more nuanced than that. It's a fucking devil may cry stream. But one argument was about killing the fetus versus, I'm not going to say, versus R-wording it, right? The replies, I saw a few reply videos, and it's just these fucking morons having their mouth gaped open, calling the dude who made said hypothetical, oh, what is wrong with you, you're a creep, you're a weirdo. But the point is, it's a hypothetical, right? Whether it's weird or not is beside the point. It's meant to almost be, it's an extreme hypothetical. So I think an issue is that everybody's acting intellectual, but in reality they're fucking dumb. and that just makes him look even worse, really. Because I'll tell you what's worse than a dumb person. You know, if a dumb person can't recognize they're dumb, is the worst type of person. And obviously, you know, people can't choose. You can expand your intelligence, but you can't choose your IQ. And you can't choose how smart you are, right? But if you motherfuckers don't stop spamming these, like, acronyms, it's about to be raps. I think another issue as well is... Yeah, exactly, like that. I'm just rage baiting, but it's just a joke. Bro can't have any fun. Like, dude, it's not about that. Like, that's another issue. You try to have any serious conversation. Oh, bro, this, bro, that. Bro doesn't know how to have fun. Bro doesn't, like, shut the fuck up. Like, just be serious for once in your life. Just listen. Yeah, I think another big thing as well was like Epstein jokes, right? Now, I never found Epstein jokes funny. Not just because, you know, Epstein bad, but because it is just genuinely, yeah, or you're mad as well. Like, it's childish. But the fact that, like, so many people, obviously, you know, a lot of these were dudes, right? Let's not deny it was teenage dudes. Made, like, the Epstein jokes, and, you know, I don't blame people for thinking that was a... Well, I actually don't think it's not. I think that was genuinely some fucking psyop from the CIA, because, like, you know, it's one thing joking about something, like, ironically joking, like, for example, the jokes about, you know, Epstein ending it, or, you know, like, a conspiracy around Epstein, but the fucking, these, like, AI videos about, like, Epstein, and, like, it's just weird. Yeah, like, also, yeah, like, the, yo, bro, I'm gonna rape you jokes. And granted, like, you know, I'm not somebody who like, yeah, okay, I'll admit I'm very edgy, but there's a difference between edgy and just being fucking, like, retarded and like, borderline fucking cringy, right? Look, another thing is white dudes specific. Well, you know, I say white dudes, because I feel like, but obviously it's these right wing, yeah, it's like teenage dudes who love to use the N-word and make like a big deal about it. Or just like randomly make these like fucking like unfunny ass racist jokes that are spammed, and then they'll say like, "Oh, you're soft," or like, "No, I'm not soft. These jokes are just not fucking funny." And the thing is, like, these white dudes, they'll say the N-word, and then they'll try to provoke a reaction or like something. Yeah, exactly. We came up with that word, this and that. And you know what, man? Like, I'll be honest, right? Whatever, right? You know, if you're gonna say, like, fucking say it, but, like, nobody, stop trying to fucking get a reaction. Stop trying to act like it's some fucking cool, awesome edge word. Like, you're nothing. You're pathetic, dude. You're unfunny. You're a child. Even if you're not a child, you're a child. You're extremely pathetic if you're not a child. Like, in fact, I was, yeah. Like, I was chilling with a friend the other day, right? This is a dude I know from, like, playing Dungeons and Dragons with. This was on Saturday. And randomly, some, like, and this wasn't even white people. This was a brown dude, right? You know, they just start making, like, borderline racist jokes. You could tell they probably fucking call him the N-word if they could. Now, the joke itself was, you know, they're asking him, "Oh, where's Franklin?" Because I guess they're, like, retarded, so the only black person they know is Franklin from, like, GTA. It didn't even make sense. Like, it wasn't even funny, honestly. But these fucking dudes, they're just retarded. Granted, my friend didn't even understand the joke they were talking about, but still, it's just fucking. It's unfunny. Yeah, I hate Instagram humor. I'm like the people, oh, Instagram is so bad. Instagram humor funny. Instagram edgy. Like, I guess, man. But I'll be honest, the other thing that annoys me is, like, you know, I mean, okay, this is gonna kind of sound like I'm having a dig at you guys. I'm not, right? But, like, yeah, like, chud jokes. Oh, you know, like, nah, being a chud isn't fucking just being a fat loser who sits home, plays games all day. You know, the term chud comes it's the pedo jokes, the racist jokes. And like I said, like, whatever, but it just gets to a point where it's, like, unfunny, rinse and repeat, overused. Yeah, I would say Insta is pretty, sort of far, right? Oh, yeah, so basically, let me explain to you. Okay, so, the term chud comes from the movie Chud, right? It was some shitty movie made in the 90s, like the early 2000s. And it was, I think it was probably Libs that coined the term, it might have been Leftist, I don't know. Either, right? That coined the term, you know, to use that as an insult against Lehekin, 4chan, and shoddy racists. Obviously, oh shit, nice. Obviously the issue is, you know, 9 times out of 10, you're trying to create a quote-unquote, it's not a slur, obviously, but like an offensive term for people who don't really get offended because, like, whatever, right? But, you know, all that happened was, yeah, they kind of just took the word chud for themselves and coined it, and then all of a sudden, TikTok starts fucking... it wasn't commented, it was like 4chan who aren't even necessarily right-wing, it's just whoever they... Basically, a lot of liberals like to deem whoever they don't like as right-wing. Like, for example, there's a stigma that all incels are right, or like incels are right-wingers, but usually incels are ethnic, so it doesn't make sense. And yeah, okay, like, a lot of incels have, you know, there are a lot of incels with far-right political ideologies, but not really good. Now then, you have the Chud Jack. So this is not the Chud word, Chud Jack, right? So Chud Jack is it's not really a soy jack. Well, it is, but it's not. I don't. Because it's not really meant to represent soy. Like something like, for example, Hobson would, or no, Hobson depending on who you ask, Hobson is going to say this. I guess Hobson Jack is a good example. Or Charles Jack. Like, Chud Jack was obviously, so Patrick Perez's, the Walmart. He was a Walmart shooter. He shot up a Walmart because he's an Mexican. Yeah, but the thing is, you know, being bitchy to a lot of these, especially liberal feminists, is like a good thing, you know, like, because fuck this and granted, keep in mind, I'm using the term liberal feminist because, you know, there is a good side to feminism, just not that side. You know, these are the women that, like, say sex work on every time and say how they're empowering, which is obviously not, because I don't really see how selling your body to men can be used by them to be fucking violated and empowering. Yeah, okay, you're making money, but that's even then. That's just like, all right, so just like the capitalistic system. That's pretty much it. I know people can even find it empowering. They're doing it because they need money. Really. Like, let's be honest, right? Let's be honest. These porn actresses, in the videos, whatever, you know, maybe they're smiling, maybe they look happy. They're not happy, let's be honest. They don't want to be there. They have to look happy, they have to look like they're enjoying themselves because they want that paycheck, they want that big fat paycheck, right? They obviously don't want to be there, they don't want to be doing that. It's one thing being a whore, but it's something also people seeing you being a whore. You know? And not to mention how, like, clearly exploited the porn industry is. You know, obviously it's going to be some industry built on objectifying women. Men too, to some degree, but mostly women. They do. Not to mention as well, you know how they have these actors who are freshly 18, just 18, barely 18, etc. But it makes you wonder, you know, first of all it's fucked up, but it also makes you wonder, right? Yeah, you know, especially the ones where it says freshly 18. These are freshly 18-year-olds, but you probably scouted them out before they even turned 18. In all honesty, a lot of it comes down to as well the consequences of capitalism. And like I don't, you know, there are capitalist defenders. I know ANCAPs are some of the worst people to exist. Like, they're just fucking retarded, I swear, but whatever. Police. Yeah, Peter Bait, exactly, yeah, Peter Bait. And obviously, like, you know, something like porn should be made illegal, really. It's just how would you go about making it illegal? When something like that is so mass-produced, you can't just firstly wipe it completely off the internet, because you can't really just wipe anything completely off the internet. And then it becomes this thing of, you make porn less accessible, the ways in which people access porn are going to become more, I suppose, dangerous, right? Obviously, for example, you know, we know gladly that CSAM is illegal and inaccessible. So how do people access it? They obviously fish it from the dark web. Now, like, you know, I think a lot of people who spend time on that have ended up accidentally seeing it. And like, obviously the dark web isn't this super scary, super duper fucking dark web scary evil place, but yeah, you're gonna see fucked up shit on there because, you know, it's just bound to happen. I haven't run into any because I don't really use it. I don't have a reason to use it, so. The truth is, you know, and I suppose this is hypocritical, but at the same time it's not. Technological advancements have been one of the worst things to happen to mankind. Even more so now, with the fact that technology can very well replace mankind. working girls, as in like sex workers. Yeah, and also yeah, like we said, like so sex work is illegal in many places, or it's heavily sort of uh what's the word? It's like regulated, right? Like here in England, so sex work isn't actually completely illegal, but it has to be essentially if a woman wants to be a call girl or a prostitute, she has to be her own employer. She can't have a pimp, and it can't be in a brothels aren't allowed. Now, that's still pretty fucked up because, you know, anything to avoid helping these women, right? Just give them a system where they're going to be absolutely exploited. But, you know, in some, you know, like places where it's illegal, obviously, they just work around it anyway. Like, I'm not 100% sure. Obviously, I assume that these vary from the states as well. But I assume the laws in America are maybe similar, or at least, I don't know, right? So, obviously what's going to end up happening is, I mean, what does end up happening is, yeah, sex work still happens, prostitutes are still, you know, at large, but it just happens in a much more secretive way. Japan itself has very much normalized pedo culture. And a big thing about Japan is, yeah, you know, a lot of people are so desensitized to it because of anime, because of Japanese culture. Or everyone is so respectful in Japan. Everyone's like this in Japan. You know, so you know, you've seen the memes. Best thing in Japan. But the truth is, a lot of it is to cover up Japan's what they do now. Also, a lot of it is, you know, the absolute horrors that Japan committed in World War II is atrocious, and you never hear about it. You hear about what the Nazis did. You hear about what Adolf did. You hear, yeah, I fucking hate it. No, but here's the thing: Nitorag isn't just cheating. It's grape cheating. It's grape cheating. But you know, yeah. So you know, they'll always make sure they tell you, and obviously, not in defense of, you know, Germany here, but they'll always make sure you know how bad 1940s Germany was. Oh, and also make sure you know how bad communist regimes were, right? Especially in America. If it's red, you should be dead. But they never ever really go into detail about Japan and how bad Japan's war crimes were, because to some degree they were way worse than the Germans. You know, they torture, they raped, they mutilated. But you never really hear about it. You know, at most you'll hear about kamikaze, right? You know, but they don't tell you about all the other shit that they did, how bad it fucking was. And nobody bothers to really look into it on that scale. You know, because when you say Japan now, what do you think of? You don't think of the fact that they, like, I'm willing to bet a lot of people are even unaware of the fact that Japan sided with the, you know, with the fascists in World War II. Something want to fucking go on. Yeah, they did shit. They actually did do shit like this. Like, all under the guise of scientific experimentation. Quote-unquote scientific experimentation. It was obviously very much a sadistic pleasure that they got out of it. Now, the truth is, there are actually some scientific advancements that they made, that the Germans made, sadly because of what they did. Obviously, that's not a good thing. But it is the truth. It's a harsh truth. I think another issue as well is people are too wrapped up in extremely trivial things, right? People are too wrapped up in slurs, getting called slurs. People are too wrapped up in, and I'll be honest, people are too wrapped up in being misgendered, on words, to recognize the actual issues. And this is very much liberals who are like this, not leftists, liberals. And obviously, to some degree, right, you shouldn't, hate is bad, but you're not gonna just erase hate by fucking holding a protest, by marching with it. You're not gonna abolish racism. Not now, and to be frank, there's a chance that it'll never be abolished, right? There's not much you can do about that, really. They focus on it so much that they fail to see a lot of the actual issues, the issues within, social issues, social injustices, the issues of the economy, the issues of, the way that the working class are exploited. That's another thing. Especially us. Well, how the fact that we are privileged enough to not have to really experience we do, but we're not facing the brunt of it, right? We're not getting bombed. All right. Yeah. Okay. Ukraine is bad, but Ukraine isn't exactly a good country. Ukraine isn't exactly, a victim. The people are victims, but the country itself is very big supporters of Israel too. So it's funny to try and bitch about injustices, but then they support, and it's not like, yeah, the injustice in Palestine is a lot worse than what's happening in Ukraine because, now obviously it's bad to compare, but that is just the truth. It's the truth that Zelensky too, the president is Israeli. He's an Israeli Jew. And obviously, the people of Israel, the people of Ukraine, the children, the innocent children, innocent men and women, they don't deserve that. And sadly, yes, it is somewhat the spoils of war. How to some degree, actually I'm not going to say that because I will actually get nuked. But I mean, the truth as well is, yeah, you'll never be able to stop war. In some degree, we are naturally hostile creatures. We are naturally war-bound. Sadly, humans are violent. Humans are innately violent creatures. Killing, senseless murder, evil deeds, to some degree, they are human nature, right? And a lot of it is down to man-made morals and why we see these things as wrong. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing. Now, obviously, the issue is when these man-made morals go beyond simply what is right and wrong. They very much corrupt what is right and wrong. When when we hear about very much sure. You know, when we hear about terrorist attacks, when we hear about this and that, you never stop to think why these things happen. You don't stop to think the cause, right? I mean, generally, you know, especially if it's Islamic, oh, that's it, right? It's just because of Islam. But you never stop to think beyond that. When Ted Kaczynski did what he did, when the Unabomber killed those people, nobody really bothered reading his manifesto. Nobody really bothered taking up his political ideology, because to him, he was just a murderer. He was just senseless. His violence was senseless and unjustified, because you've been led to believe that any form of violence is bad, that any form of, you know, even protesting, violent protesting, bad. Peaceful protesting, good, yeah. Everyone should peaceful protest, which makes no fucking difference and doesn't do shit. But no, don't violent protest, ever. Violent protesting is innately terroristic. The IRA are labeled as terrorists. And yet, they fought for their rights, they fought for their freedom. If you want to be a real freedom fighter, you have to take the label of a terrorist. Now, luckily, I would never ever do something like that. I think terrorism is really, really bad, and it should never be endorsed. Super bad thing. But let's say theoretically you wanted to. You know, to truly fight for freedom, you would have to be a terrorist. You would have to take the label up, you'd have to take the mantle. Because violence is very much a necessity in getting what you want. I mean, think about the French Revolution. Why was it successful? It wasn't successful because they stood outside the sign. You know, because they fucking went outside of the king's castle and shouted and screamed for wanting this and that. Because they're big fundraisers, raising money. No, it was successful because they had to be violent. They had to use violence. Violence is a necessary tool. Well, yeah, you could, right? But even though that's not real freedom, because they're not fighting for freedom. You see what they're fighting for? They're very much fighting for oppression. But the thing is as well, ISIS is very much Israeli funded, and ISIS was made by Israel. There's a lot of evidence backing that. It's boosted by Israel, because obviously, yes, to some degree, you know, they are the enemies of Israel. It's the same with Hamas, by the way. Hamas are freedom fighters, but at the same time, there was actually a socialist Palestine party. They killed the leader of that socialist Palestine party because they fear socialism. Israel fears socialism. America obviously fears socialism, and more so they fear communism, because generally, the end goal of socialism in reality should be communism, right? But you know, obviously, a lot of Hamas fighters as well are obviously not going to really be doing it for the actual quote-unquote cause of Hamas. They're doing it because they want their freedom. Dude, where the hell did I go? To be honest, I think I'm kind of babbling, but I have to be kind of cautious in what I can and can't say. You know, I'm not like some person of importance, right? But even then, you can't just go around saying things that will obviously get you in trouble. And like, these things can get me in trouble. You know, they can get my account terminated, but here in England as well, especially, And especially being somebody who's brown, I can very much be arrested or be put on a watch list, which I do not want. And you know, that might sound like funny, right? Oh, haha, he thinks he's gonna be on a watch list. But, you know, the truth is that... Fuck. But the truth is that, yeah, you can just be put on a watch list for small things. It's not like... Like, yeah, there's a chance you're on a watch list. You won't know it, obviously, but yeah, there is a high chance you're on a watch list. If you've said things that go against the status quo, you know, if you've said anything that initiate that sort of pertains to revolution, to resistance, to anything like that, there's a chance you're on a watch list. There's a chance that you're somebody that they're being more prone to watch out for, right? You know, when being on a watch list doesn't mean being monitored 24/7. You don't have some secret agent following you, but they do monitor. Like, they monitor your behavior more closely. You might be more of a potential suspect if something, for example, happens. You know, they'll link it more towards you. That's why you also have to be very careful with who you're talking to. Once again, you know, if you might see it as a joke that, oh, no, you know, talking to a Fed and this and that. But no, there are Feds who exist in the there are genuine CIA officers. I mean, just think about these. Now, I'm gonna use a comparison here. Keep in mind, this is a comparison, and yeah, this is a comparison. But like, for example, predators, right? These predators, they don't, when they get caught, right? When these pieces of shit get caught, rightly so, of course, they don't obviously, like, they don't know the person they're talking to is a grown man. It's a decoy. That same way, somebody you might be talking to, or not even somebody you're talking to, but somebody, there will potentially be somebody monitoring you if you've said things that can sort of be seen as, yeah, resistance behavior. And I'm foolish because I have said a lot of those things. Whether I believe them or not, I've said them. And it was not a good idea to say them because, you know, of course, like I said, it puts me in a spotlight. And once again, especially being brown, I'm coming from a Muslim family, it's very much like this dude might be an Islamic terrorist. Which, obviously, I'm not. I'm not even Muslim, but still. You know, because I think another thing as well is people think that, oh, they'll easily be able to tell if they're talking to some decoy or some sort of federal agent. You'd be absolutely nowhere. Because Trump isn't... People wouldn't direct their blame towards Trump. Trump is a puppet. That bullet hitting Trump, that'd just be another Trump. There'd be somebody else. If Trump had died, all that would happen is his influence would be more. You know, right? They'd see him as some fucking, and this is horrible to think about because this dude is fucking scum. But they'd see him as some revolutionary icon. I'll tell you who's a real revolutionary icon. I'm not a commie, but Che Guevara is a good revolutionary icon. Not fucking Trump. Yeah, but either way, it doesn't make a difference. They're all in bed with one another. The truth is it's not a question of, especially American politics, they're all the same in the end. Doesn't matter who you vote, they all want the same thing. They want to exploit the working class to the highest point. They want to make the most money. The politician, the American politician I do hold some respect for is Zahir Mamdani, right? He's not a socialist. He claims to be one. He's a social democrat. But you know, even then, it's clear he's very you know, his intentions, he means well, right? He's not ill-intentioned. Now, obviously, being non-American, American politics are not something I'm 100% master at. But American politics are important even if you're not American, because obviously America is a country that very much has a large, extremely large influence. So that's why I sort of try to somewhat keep up with American politics. Dude, where do I go? What the hell? Do you know something funny? You probably haven't been told this, or maybe you have, but Adolf actually, he was actually very much in support of the Native Americans, since he believed that they were actually like the rightful, you know, because he believed that they were the rightful Americans, that they belonged there. You know, it's quite funny to think about it. It's true. Because he was still a nationalist at the end of the day, right? So he still believed in nationalism. And he wasn't hypocritical about it. It's so good, man. Like, I do understand people not wanting to get into politics, not wanting to involve themselves too much in it. It's a very depressing topic. Possibly, but the thing is, like I said, he was a, you know, obviously he was against America itself because he was an enemy, but he was a nationalist, so, you know, he did believe that origin countries are for people of said origin. The average American isn't an American. That's true, right? That's one thing a lot of far right retards don't even tend to acknowledge. You know, he wasn't. He was to some degree a white supremacist, but he didn't believe. You know, he believed people should be in their origin countries. Now, as much as obviously there's some propaganda around it, there's nothing compared to the propaganda that surrounds Soviets or communism itself. A lot of what you've been told is very much twisted truth or just straight up lies. And, you know, obviously they do this because the biggest threat to America and the biggest threat to capitalism is communism or socialism. Captain America is actually a really good example of this. During the time of World War II, Hydra Hydra were Nazis. After World War II, the Cold War came, and Hydra was now a communist. Organization. Very funny, considering the fact that they are two completely different ends of the spectrum politically, but you know. Well, you know, that's the thing, right? You know, the truth is, it's hard to unite people, and they want you to stay divided, obviously, because of the fact that the idea of the working class people coming together, because we are the majority, they are a minority. You know, bourgeoisie are less. There's less bourgeoisie compared to working class, which obviously is the whole point. So it's very much easy to, you know, you think in theory it'd be very much easy to just overthrow the system and overthrow all this. But the issue is that you have all these differing ideologies and you have all this this hate towards one another, right? The working class would rather argue among one another. They'd rather tell each other to kill themselves because they have a slightly different political ideology than anything else, really. And it's a massive issue because of the fact that, like, in reality, you're all in the same role. You know, sure, right, like, that dude might be a commie, and you might be, I don't know, like, that dude might be a fucking, I don't know, like, yeah, okay, yeah, like, you might be a commie. This is obviously purely, it's like, I know you guys are not far right, but you might be far right. The truth is that the both of you are still struggling to pay your rent. The truth is that the both of you are still undermined and working class. Now, of course, the main issue with that is when you have two completely different ideologies, even if you do have a revolution, the aftermath is quite, well, it's hard to come to terms with. You know, anarchists are a big part of revolutions, actually. In fact, anarchists are needed in revolutions. Even if anarchy, you know, the communists need anarchists, despite them having different ideologies, because of the fact that anarchists provide the violence needed in revolutions. Now, anarchist revolutions are not good because of the fact that they only prioritize violence. They don't really do anything else. But you can't start a revolution with anarchist ideology. But within a revolution, anarchists and violence and whatnot is very much needed. You know, for example, as well, if you look at the civil rights movement in America, people talk about Martin Luther King all the time. The truth is, Martin Luther King was a fraud and he was a Zionist. You know, the Black Panthers, people like Malcolm X, did a lot more. But a good example as well of anarchism not really doing much is Luigi Mangione, right? Now, sadly, Luigi Mangione gets a big did-nothing award. He killed that dude, but the truth is somebody else will just replace him. He killed the CEO, but somebody else will just replace him. That is just how it is. I assume he hoped to start some sort of movement, you know, he wanted people to recognize fucking idiot. Yeah, that's very much true, Equinox. That is true. The truth is, as well, patriots are, I mean, you know, I would agree though that patriots themselves are pretty stupid though, so it makes sense why people might not want to say good things about the country. Patriotism actually can be quite, no, not nationalism. I actually say patriotism is that nationalism is nationalism. There's really nothing to be proud of your country for if you don't contribute to it. Be proud of your soul, be proud of who you are, not your country, not your skin color. Because you're not your skin color. You know, I don't know why people think that, like, you know, for example, sure, Nikola Tesla was right, but... Oh, accelerationism? Yeah, so here's the thing. Accelerationism isn't even necessarily a terrible concept. On paper, it makes a lot of sense. You accelerate, you up the ante on capitalism so much that the system has no choice but to fall down on itself. On paper, it is a good idea. The issue is, Ted Kaczynski wrote about this. The more the system is allowed to progress, you know, the worse and worse it gets, the more reliant we get on technology, etc., the worse the downfall will be. For sure, yeah, we can accelerate, and yes, capitalism will probably fall on itself. But when that happens, the suffering and the effects will be so large that in reality it'll be absolute chaos and it'll be extremely hard to just form a society, you know, and we'll probably just go back to living in the capitalistic society again anyway, because that's all people will know. They won't be open to new ideas because they'll be scared of, once again, fall. Acceleration is a terrible idea because the greater the advancement, the worse the collapse will be. If capitalism were to collapse now, the effects wouldn't be as great as if it were to collapse, hell, even 5 years from now. If capitalism were to collapse 5 years ago, the effects wouldn't be as great as if it were to collapse now. The more and more we advance, the worse and worse it will get when a fall happens, because of the fact that, you know, reliance on the system will become more and more. For example, AI, right? 5 years ago, AI wasn't as advanced. 5 years ago, people weren't even as reliant on AI. Stuff like ChatGPT, but not just ChatGPT now. AI is making its way into workplaces. AI is making its way into replacing vital key workers. So what happens is technology, you know, you have this technological fall, because now we're also reliant on technology, and it will cause a collapse. It will cause a massive collapse. But I will say an issue is that people really like to up the ante on the effects of AI. And I think a lot of that is to do with these big companies pushing the effects of generative AI. Generative AI, albeit, is bad, and I think that, you know, it is a terrible thing to happen. But not just because of the environmental impact, which people, once again, really like to exaggerate. Because compared to these big companies, especially like Nestle, they're not shit. They don't do shit. But forget just Nestle, you know, almost every big company, the fucking government themselves, they're the reason that it's not AI. You know, the polar bears aren't fucking dying and getting skinny because of AI. No, it's because of Nestle. It's because of factories. It's because of deforestation. You know, people will complain and cry about AI, but proceed to go buy a fucking Kit Kat, proceed to go fund, you know, every fucking thing that Nestle produces. People will go buy fucking polyester clothes and fast fashion. You're complaining about AI, and yet you're funding something that is worse, that is having an even worse effect. Because not only does Nestle as well have the environmental impact, the amount of suffering that they cause in third world countries can't be neglected either. Not just Nestle, but all these big companies. Especially things like BlackRock, which very much go undermined, because for something like BlackRock, they don't really want you to know that the harm they cause. But they exploit workers, they exploit people, they exploit the working class even more so than they do in first world countries. We are, quote unquote, lucky to live in first world countries, but I wouldn't even say we're lucky. I'd say we're just more fortunate because of the fact that, yes, we're less exploited. We have a minimum wage, so we can somewhat live, but even then people are now struggling to live on the wages they get. But in these third world countries, which they purposely go to, they exploit them to the degree where these people can't even really make much money. They're barely eating. And another thing is, people like to, especially these retarded Europeans, like to think that the government is bringing you immigrants because they want to replace them, because they want to destroy British and white culture. That is simply not true. The government doesn't give a fuck about that. The government doesn't want, you know, they don't fucking want Islam to be England's national religion. No, the reason they bring in immigrants is, now the Great Replacement is real, but not in that sense. First of all, they want to bring in immigrants because of declining birth rates amongst people, specifically white people. Because of Western culture, yes, declining birth rates are happening. Because of liberal feminism, declining birth rates are happening. So they want more people because they need workers. Obviously, the bourgeoisie are still dependent on the working class. They view us, you know, we hold them up, right? We hold them up, which is bullshit. So, two reasons they bring in immigrants: create more babies, more workers, cheaper labor. You bring in an immigrant, he works for cheaper, he labors harder, you can work him, you can exploit him more because of the fact that yeah, he will be more likely to need the money. He's not just coming here and then they'll complain about how asylum seekers get all these fancy hotels and houses and this and that. But once again, yeah, they give them the means of living, but the thing is they have to give it. So they give them these nice means of living, and then they exploit them to the bone. It's nothing to do with destroying white culture. It's nothing to do with wanting women to be raped and this and that. I mean, a lot of that is due to culture that is fucked up, right? But also a lot of that is somewhat dramatized in the media on purpose to create divide and split. Yeah, it's all about exploitation, really, right? Why does immigration happen? Exploitation. They want the cheapest workers, they want the hardest workers. Whoever they can exploit to the max, that's who they'll take. The first opening line of Ted Kaczynski's Industrial Society and its Future is the Industrial Revolution has been a disaster for the human race. And then he goes on to talk about how it causes mental suffering in first world countries, great mental suffering in first world countries. However, it causes even greater mental and physical suffering in third world countries because of the fact that, yes, people from third world countries are heavily exploited, and then, yes, they are brought here, but they're just brought here because they're cheaper workers. Like, obviously as well, the truth is the average immigrant isn't raping. The average immigrant isn't, being in a grooming gang. A lot of them do genuinely come here because they want better lives for themselves. The average Muslim isn't a terrorist or a rapist. The same way the average white man isn't a racist, the same way the average white man isn't a pedophile.
You showed up.
You sure know how to throw a party. No food, no drinks, and the only babe just left.
My sincerest apology, brother. I was so eager to see you, I couldn't concentrate on preparations for the bash.
Whatever.
This is a good
At
fight.
any rate, it's been a whole year since we last met. How about a kiss from your little brother? Or better yet, how about a kiss from this? So, this is what they call a heartwarming family reunion, eh?
You got that right.
Right off the bat. I'm really glad I dodged those attacks. God, I should've used hard guard. Fucking idiot. Yeah, it's Virgil, dude. What do you expect? Oh. I'm not dead. thinking, should I even invoke God here? I think I should.
Come on, Wimp.
God, I really thought I was in that lucky broken too. You're gonna die. Okay, I think I should use Trickster instead. And if not, I'll just go back to Gunslinger. No, Swordmaster even. But I don't know if you guys, well, I don't know, I'm not sure if you guys are tapping the Devil May Cry mode, but, so Virgil, this dude, if you remember the Milo Angelo fight, it's the same dude. Fuck. I definitely think Trickster is good for this. I'm just gonna time my attacks better and not get too eager. That's the issue I have with this game. I always get too eager. shit. Might be cooked. There we go.
Why do you refuse to gain power? The power of our father, Sparta.
Father? I don't have a father. I just don't like you, that's all.
Foolishness, Dante. Foolishness. Might controls everything. And without strength, you cannot protect anything. Let alone yourself. Yes. Now the spell Sparta cast will be broken. I see a devil inside you has awakened as well.
Wait. We should leave. For the moment we have all that we need.
Oh shit, I'm really sorry. I didn't even see these messages. I just think that is somewhat the case for indie games. The issue is I feel like a lot of indie games as well just aren't really doing much new or are very much just bland, can be quite bland, but that's not the truth for every indie game. But I think there's also a stigma around, like, like, what's morally correct on indie game developers and indie games and this and that. But the truth is, if a game is good, it's not as bad. AAA or indie. But the truth is, AAA games nowadays do suck. Companies are just money hungry and greedy. So, obviously, that's just sadly how it is. But there are definitely some really good indie games. And I do think comparison is killer. Yeah. I mean, Virgil was never really niche. Like, Devil May Cry 3 was really popular actually, and with Devil May Cry obviously also being a Resident Evil, like being Resident Evil, and by Capcom, it's obviously was never gonna be niche. But I do know what you mean. Like, DMC did kind of get a lot more popular. Like a lot more people. Like I think my first ever encounter with Devil May Cry was in Marvel vs. Capcom. Seeing Dante in Marvel vs. Capcom was really fucking cool. Oh yeah, this is like the best fucking OST in the game. Dude, this shit is just wild. Yeah, thank I think that main Dante not Marvel vs. No, yeah, dude, I know Marvel vs. I will be honest, I think that the new gen will be tend to ruin a lot of the For example as well, especially like the music scenes, more niche or indie music scenes, I feel like when new gens find them or they become more mainstream, just tends to get watered down and becomes horrid. Like something like Incel Core, for example. It's still not that popular. Like, the average person in the street isn't gonna really know what Incel Core is. But I do feel like, especially on TikTok, so everyone just described by fluoride and this and that. And it's kind of annoying, honestly, because, it just makes you want to gatekeep, because it also makes the fan base, or the fan base, the community just look shitty too. And another bad thing is when you're into something, you try to look for fans, you find the fandom, and it kind of just ends up being shit. So then you kind of just don't associate with the fandom. I feel like that does definitely happen for smaller stuff, even if I do like to gatekeep, it definitely does happen when there's a smaller fan base. It either just tends to be people who don't really consume the media and just see TikTok edits, or kids, when you look for a fan base and you realize that a lot of these people are kind of younger. And it's like, for me, 20th Century Boys is a manga I really like. It's made by the same author of Monster. I wouldn't say that the fan base is primarily kids, but a lot of them do tend to be like these kind of funk, tough funk edits. It's hard finding an edit of 20th Century Boys characters I actually like. It's also the main antagonist, who is cool, granted. So the edits are cool, but it's kind of annoying that the other characters don't really get much love. But yeah, I really hate as well, like especially Berserk. Like when something I like just gets reduced down to like fucking dumbness and having dumb fans. Because I actually really do love Berserk. I've been a big fan of Berserk for ages. The manga is one of the like, you know, and for the most part, the actual Berserk fandom, you know, the people who read the manga, the people who consume it, it's pretty good, honestly. Like, they actually are interesting to talk to when you find them because they know what they're talking about and they consume the media and they're able to kind of understand more the complexity of the manga. But when it's like just these people who either have only watched the anime who just think it's all tough hype or romance, or like who read the manga but only past the fucking golden age, like it's just annoying. It makes me not want to interact with the fandom. And it also just makes the, you know, because now people just think that's all Berserk is. It's horrible being a Berserk fan in 2026. Yeah, 100%. Fan bases affect a lot. Like, Berserk is actually a really well-crafted manga. If you haven't read it, like, I'd actually say go read it, catch up with it. Because, yeah, it's a popular manga, but in terms of, like, the newer chapters and the newer story and stuff, it's pretty niche because of the fact that nobody fucking reads it. You know, confused there, not just... serious? Like, you know, also the Berserk fandom is full of disgusting ass rape jokes because of the fact that, like, it gets to a point, man. It gets to a fucking point. Like, the Casca enjoyed it fucking jokes pissed me off so bad, honestly. It just goes to show us all, like, it makes sense why the fandom has such a bad rep because of how mature it is. Ooh, what type of, well, I don't know, Aquanox, do you like to watch anime or read manga or anything? To be honest with me, I like to keep like an open mind on most things. You know, I don't really like, even if a fandom is bad, if it does look interesting enough, I will still indulge in it. I don't mind. Like, I'll be honest, I do like Sequel. Even if a lot of Sequel fans are kind of fucking annoying. I think it's, you know, it's pretty decent music. Okay, yeah, it can be like that. There is a lot of rape scenes. But here's the thing. Now, some of them aren't necessary. Yeah, the fucking rapist donkey wasn't necessary. But from the period Berserk is set in, from that time, from the fact that it is an extremely dark, you know, and the fact that it is very much, you know, about cults and you know, evil. There is a lot of rape. But like I said, it's very much due to it being also from that time period of where it happened a lot. A lot of people do say that it's a fetish thing. I don't know. I disagree really. But there's a lot of rape or just like a lot of sex and gruesome, bloody, edgy stuff, which I don't mind. I'm fine with it. In terms of like reading and stuff. No, for me, I've never really read it and thought, oh shit, that's like way too far, right? Like in terms of you know, like oh that's too, like obviously it's too far in the sense that, if you know what I mean. It is a seinen, it very much plays into being a seinen. It's extremely dark, it's edgy, but it's also very deep, you know. Maybe yes, sometimes those rape scenes can be a bit overdone, but to me, that's the story is worth it. It's you know. I genuinely, like, when I read that, when I, like, you know, there's been times in the manga where I'm, like, almost teared up, right? Yeah, Clearness is really good. I think actually, like, look, I really recommend it. What is it about? It looks quite good, honestly. That's been on my read list for absolutely ages. To be honest, like, I can't understand, like, you know, having rape in it being, you know, stuff in media with rape or like topics like that being a sensitive topic for anybody, especially obviously people who have gone through it. And like, I understand not wanting to consume it, but I don't think like it should automatically be an immediate, because, you know, you have to kind of deal with sensitive topics, right? Yeah, no, sometimes simple is sometimes best. You don't really need complicated stuff. I've been meaning to get down to this, but I've just got a lot to read, to watch, and I have been watching a lot more stuff. But my intentions was quite bad, honestly. I mean, you know, this year actually, one thing I've been doing the most is playing a lot of games. You know, this year, I don't know how many games I've even managed to complete, but it's been a fuck ton. Like, you know, to the point where, like, I've never really, played this kind of games in just, like, space of time that I have, but I guess not doing anything, something crazy stuff. Actually, you know what I recently was playing a lot? With my friend, Kira. Like, on the stream, she's called No Donuts. Or Baldur's Gate. It's been really fun. Because it's just like D&D inspired. Shit, it's really good. It's a good game, though. It's really hard to see. Oh shit, some more stuff.
foundation that brought out fear. Fear. Yes. Fear.
Oh, I'm gonna go, guys.
Can't you feel it?
It was fun streaming.
The rage and agonies of the people. Those who were confined here, with their desires for evil being unfulfilled. It was all because Sparta slammed the door
Oh
to
yeah,
the demon
yeah, I
world
can
in
actually
their
get you.
faces.
Like, there's this one word spoken with like a soda pop. I was actually quite sad at the end, it was pretty sweet.
What's wrong?
Anyway, guys, I'm quite tired. I think I'm gonna go.
Nothing.
See you guys later.